Recruiting-wise, we felt we had another solid class. You know, it sounds like a broken record every year, but we felt like we really took care of the immediate needs. And when I say immediate, the positions that were the most depleted. Offensive line was at the top of the list. We ended up taking 5 offensive linemen, and closely followed by wide receiver and defensive back. Those were definitely the 3 primary areas of concern for us and needing to restock. But we were able to get good players at a number of other positions as well. So we feel good about the guys we got, and you know, time will tell. You know, how they pan out, and what you know, who excels and who makes that transition to Division I football, and just like every year. So I think we felt a positive impact from that, and particularly in California. I think we have 15 of we utilized all 25 initials like we do most years. There's a few years you may not be able to get to 25 due to the amount of guys you have returning, but 15 of the 25 for this year were from California, and I think a lot of that is a result of how well we did, not only you know, with our win-loss record going 9-4, which was a nice turnaround, but how well we did in the state of California. You know, beating USC, UCLA, Stanford, and Fresno. I think that was a byproduct of that. I never single anybody out, because if you single one guy out, you're going to make 24 other guys upset. And so there's a lot of guys that we feel are going to be able to come in and help us right away. Typically the JC guys are more ready for that than high school guys, but that's not always the case. We've got some high school guys that we signed, that the big physical guys that are really ready, at least from a physical standpoint. So I would say when it's all said and done, you're going to see probably half this class make an impact in the upcoming season, and the other half may not quite be ready and look to redshirt or be in lesser roles. Well, yeah, first of all, there's 5 of them, and when you count one that's returning off a mission, and we can't, you know, we're unlike most other schools in the country. We got guys coming back off missions, leaving on missions, where we can't talk about those guys because they don't sign anymore. You used to sign all your missionaries to national letters of intent, but now they put the restriction on the amount of national letters you can sign. You can't sign above and beyond the 25 that you're given each year for the guys that are going to come back in 2 years. And so, that being said, we have 1 lineman that's returning, that's be coming off a mission, who I can't talk about. But you know, the other guys, it was mostly offensive tackle types. Those are usually the guys that you're in need of. Mostly is the longer levered guys that can play on the edge. You know, the 6'5" plus guys. And Darren Paulo, you know, from Grant High School, is certainly a guy that we're excited about. And Johnny Kaplan is another tackle type body. Kevin Dixon, another tackle type body from Wayne Park. And so, and then you know, the other guy would be Nick Carmen, who's more of an inside guy from Arizona. And then, like I said, the other guy we can't really talk about. But we think we really helped ourselves with the offensive line. And our numbers were down after this year's. We didn't graduate a lot of guys this year, but we were down a little bit this year in that position. So we made up for it in this class, and we feel we're back where we need to be, just from a sheer number standpoint. Sure did. There were some big-time players in the state, and you know, our number 1 objective every year is to try to keep, you know, as much talent in the state as we can in-state and come into our place. And we were able to come away with some really good players in this year's class, and also have some guys that just returned off missions from in-state in this year's class. But yeah, it's I don't think there's a state in the country that doesn't go through the same thing, where guys from out of state come in and pick off some of your best players. I think that's pretty much universal throughout. But it's certainly our number 1 objective, like I said, is to try to put a fence around the state of Utah as best we can, and keep as many of those players in state. But you know, you're never going to get every one of them, and we certainly lost a few this year that were very talented, very high profile. They've done a nice job, particularly USC. I think they're either first, second, third in just about everybody's ranking system. Now the ranking systems are relative, and they don't always mean a whole lot. Somebody told me the other day that 40 of the 44 starters in the Super Bowl were 3-star or less, you know, coming out of high school. And so even though I think those scouting services do a good job, they work hard at it, and they put a lot of time and effort into it, I still think recruiting the raw material and projecting and developing that talent when you get them on campus is really going to make or break it. Particularly a school like ours, where we're limited in the 4- and 5-star guys that we land. being in the footprint has made the other Pac-12 schools much more aware of and eager to come into the state of Utah. And plus, I think the talent, I've said this for probably 10 years straight now, the talent level in the state just keeps getting better every single year. And this might be the best year in history as far as the real blue chip players coming out of the state of Utah in the history of high school football. A lot of speed, very talented, can play either corner or wide receiver, maybe playing a little bit of both, but he's got the top end speed that you look for at corner, and that's, with us playing as much man coverage as we do, you've got to be able to run with everybody that you face, and so that's our starting point for Corey is on defense. He's also a kick returner as well, so you could factor in there, but really just the sheer speed and athleticism that he possesses is what attracted us to him. They obviously are guys that I have a lot of respect for. I mean, they did, particularly Kalani was with us for a long time, and he's a very good recruiter, as is Coach Tuiaki, and of course Gary's a good friend of mine. And so, they were able to put together a pretty good class given their circumstances, and I don't think that there was anything that surprised us in that with that. Situation there as opposed to what we were doing here with the recruits and guys that may have ended up there. Didn't surprise us at all.